All right, good evening, Coin Observatory. Thank you all for tuning in. You already got awesome. We got Christopher, Matthew Pink. Everybody's excited, right? It feels like all season. If you guys margin trading with us, you caught that BTC dip. You're up some like 3% on spot. So if you're on 25, that's a 60-75% gain. If you're on 5x, just multiply by 5. But yeah, no, we've got reason to be excited. Just maybe like an hour ago, I drew up the slide and put up in our BTC BitMEX, the red line, saying this could be an opportunity to head short. It's the first time we run into this line after this big impulse move up. Yeah, so I'm going to cover quite a few things, starting with BTC, talking about some alts, go over some of our open signals, some of the closed signals and stuff. So why did I signal the long 2 days ago on that dip? It's something that I've been waiting for weeks, right? When this big move happened on all exchanges, I said, hey guys, like, do not buy here. Like, this is going to come back down. There's a CME gap down here, and price, literally, we had an opportunity to hedge here, so we shorted here, came down, and then for two long opportunities that I announced, back to that gap fill at 39. Right, and then that's when it got choppy. This period of, I think it was like 2 weeks, from the like 19th through yesterday, or through the 25th. I said, do not FOMO in, do not long. This thing's gonna come back down for a CME gap fill and for a wedge retest, right? And the reason I decided to long, and I posted that long, I said, hey guys, like, this is it. This is a really good dip to pick up, and we got in at like 38.55, 38.52, some of the guys, because looking at the CME chart, it doesn't include any weekend action, right? And who are the big players? Who's playing on CME? Who's trading on CME? It's the big banks that are trading on leverage, and that's their BitMEX. So big hedge funds that are in the US, this is where they can leverage and margin trade BTC. This is their chart, and CME stops trading Friday at 5 p.m. and they resume on Sunday at 5 p.m. So weekend price action is going to end up coming back. This is that gap. This is where BTC on all other exchanges went up, and I'm like, hey guys, it's going to come back down. And yeah, so it ended up coming back below. It traded for 2 weeks, and then it filled that gap, came back up, and there was a gap down here. So we had a gap fill that I called for, and we had short over here. Price came back up. And right when we had friction, I had actually two lines drafted, and we decided to long right here where volume came in. So if I go like a 30-minute chart, so BTC1 on TradingView is going to be this chart, right? It's like the BitMEX perpetual for CME. There's also the futures charts. I'm going to go over some of those. It looks like, so here, if you look at volume, it looks like it's dying off, right? There's not much interest in price on the perpetuals. But if you look at the next future, so if you look at Bitcoin futures, we go to the March futures. Volume looks a lot different, right? They actually bought this up. They bought this up. They also bought the dip. April futures are also, there's quite a bit of buying happening on futures. CME futures. You're going to go to April. So April's got a lot more volume, right? And they're actually buying this up right now, which is interesting. So back to our chart, the one that we're trading. I did say that there's an opportunity to head short at 40.32. Kind of moved it to 40.38, and it crept up just above it. We're currently retesting what looks like to be somewhat of a bull flag here, right? And this still has me bullish, because if we do get a breakout above this flag, then we're looking at some bigger targets. All right, we're looking at go ahead and bring them onto the screen. Looking at quite a few higher targets. Based on the cycle, based on what Litecoin's been doing, based on what altcoins have done, I'd still see the next high, the next swing high at like 4,700, 4,800. That's just based on the cycles that we've been trading. Yesterday's long, it had 4 targets, and it hit all 4 of them almost like immediately, right? So our target 4 was at like $4,026, and it hit that. What's next? I want to see what price does here. If we retest this flag, and if we do retest this flag, interestingly, we're above this previous resistance. There's also a bit of a head and shoulders. I'm gonna ignore the XBT chart for now. We're gonna go back to the CME chart. If you guys have questions about like the CME chart, Bitcoin chart, all of that, just go ahead and start asking. I'll catch up with you in the comments. Gotta get this thing to proportion. It's a little hard. There we go. Alright, so volume isn't quite representing the head and shoulder, inverse head and shoulders we should be seeing in terms of volume. We should be seeing a lot more buying volume because we're above this neckline. I think it could come in, right? I was kind of debating this with an associate yesterday, and he said, hey, like if it's an inverse head and shoulders, we should have seen a lot of volume come in. I said, well, there's a gap below. We're not going to see the volume come in until this gap fills, right? So if you kind of chase this down where this red resistance line is, where that gap is on the CME chart, I had to fill this gap before creeping on up. And we could see the volume. If we see volume come in now, it could be a 17% move up. It sounds like hopium. It could be hopium, right? But did we double bottom? Quite possibly, right? Volume's coming in on the CME chart. These are the perpetuals. Yeah, so it's definitely interesting, right? Definitely interesting, especially since we had this gap here, a gap open, came down to fill the gap. And also, every time we've traded one of these wedges, and if you guys are in Discord, in VIP, you know how many descending, broadening wedges we've traded. And it's a pretty profitable and spot on formation. All right. That covers what I have to say about BTC. All right, I'm gonna go back to the XBT chart, see if I missed anything. Did I miss anything? So my long is still open. Didn't quite hedge at 40.38 just yet. I don't think we're done. I don't think that this buying frenzy is done. Crypto Twitter is quite a bit bearish right now. I don't see a reason for that, right? Like when we saw this sell-off start happening, I was seeing like, oh, we're going back to 3,600 to the end of the quarter, and then we're gonna go up. I don't quite see that. A lot of this selling that happened here, above 4K, wasn't even on CME. It was basically like BitMEX and spot exchanges. So the big boys haven't really sold 4K yet. There's just not a lot of volume up there, and like price didn't even get this high. Doesn't even exist on other charts. So on valid CME charts, that is. So we only got above 4K back on January 19th, right? And ever since then, it's just been like 3,900. So they haven't really sold this since December. So if those futures are over, I'm not sure what futures they were buying and selling. There wasn't even a whole lot of selling volume up here. This is a lot of buying. All right, so my bullish target's 4,800. My bearish target, I don't have one yet. I don't have one yet. I need a valid reason to go bear before I post a bearish target. Going over some open signals. So QLC's up 41%, open a month. ADA, I had two signals open on it. One's at 38, the other one's at 36. TNT's at 29. WPR 19, QSP 17, Syndicator 16, VET 16, Mana 14, Metal. So a lot of our calls are going into the green, right? You still have 4 open negative trades. NPXS really been a sucker, right? I still think charts got room to go. I was doing that pennant, and I signaled that pennant, and I had a lot of faith in it, and I did it on a wide stop. I just didn't want to get stopped out of that one. In terms of closed out trades, last week was rough, right? We kind of lost edge. We regained edge yesterday. We put out 3 or 4 profitable signals, and the charts just as soon as I honed in on the cycle, we kind of gained our edge back, and those 3 trades are in profits already. But yeah, so in terms of closed trades, right, we did hit a couple of winning streaks. Some big ones, some 120%, 61%. ENG closed out for, I believe, a 50%. Where is my ENG closeout? ENG, okay, 28%. That was one of them. We had another one. One's at 28, one's at 2. That's odd. Showing different numbers yesterday. Yeah, so now it's guys your turn. Show me some alts. Let's go over some altcoins. I know you guys have some bags you want me to go over. Seraphic, thanks for tuning in. Something of one of our open trades right now, Lisk, right? That one's moving up. Strat, a lot of things are turning green, right? Show me some alts, guys. That's what I'm here for. Cover some altcoins for you. What's going on, Eric? Enrique, Nano. It's actually on this monitor right here. I'm gonna pull it up. I got Nano on watch. I did call for Nano to move up yesterday, right? So one thing I noticed, I'm not gonna go over these MAs on stream, right? I'm not gonna give away how we're trading, because you guys already know. You have access to my notes. You do, Enrique. So something like Nano, right? Once I noticed that we're getting this shakeout, we're getting stopped out, and then price is turning here. That's what we started. We changed our strategy to essentially buying these dips, and I see Nano going, continuing the rally. In terms of a fib, I think the targets are still valid, and this thing's fresh. I just posted it yesterday. In terms of fib, right, rolled back down to 61.8%. I could have called this trade just based on fibs, but if we put the 61.8 fib and we put RMA, that we're seeing a lot of these altcoins go down and kind of touch and go, that's what we're gonna call it. Even BTC did this, right? I'll put up BTC chart next. Even BTC did this over the weekend, where it turned, where we signaled that long. It did the exact same thing on the exact same time frame. So we're still kind of tuned into the cycle. So yep, Nano turned bullish, right? We got some good volume down here. I expect continuation Bitcoin volume on there, 618 BVol. That's really healthy for a pre-breakout position. If it does revisit our entry, I'm likely going to add, and our targets are still valid. So I got faith in Nano. I've got a position in Nano. Yeah. Past few weeks settled down, seems to be sitting right. So I'll go over Theta. Thank you for the Nano shout, Enrique. ICX and Theta. I'm gonna go over Theta before going over ICX. I haven't looked at the chart in maybe a day or two. So it's definitely below our touch and go point, right? But Theta had a massive run up. I'm going to pick this swing low to see what's going on. It's actually doing a bit of a bear flag. I would wait for a formation before hopping back into Theta. It's below the 61.8 fib. I'm not seeing a lot of healthy volume coming in. It's actually trading at a decent amount, but so it just hit oversold. RSI is up and it's past resistance. And I'm gonna real quickly before I keep going over alts, I'm gonna cover one more thing. back on trading view. So it's actually past RSI resistance. We could see theta break out. We could see it go back. I'm seeing another moving average cross setting up, right? And it's below 61.8. So like picking up to 61.8, stop down here. We could see continuation. Back to what I wanted to say, Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance is a very important factor right now. And one thing we've noticed the past couple of weeks, I'm going to cover one other thing before going back to alts. I'm sorry, guys. So past couple of weeks, every time we get down to these lows, right? BTC kind of does this sell-off thing. It just starts selling off, and alts just start selling off too to reclaim dominance. Now, this somewhat looks like a descending triangle, right? It's not like the most textbook descending triangle. But if you guys look through my notes, under Saber notes on our server, you'll see what I have charted in terms of correlation, what we can expect from the market cap when BTC starts losing dominance. If it breaks below support, that is, because it has been losing dominance. So it's not the most textbook descending triangle where I can draw another resistance line. But that's going to be a healthy thing for alts and market cap. I actually posted a couple of charts that showed the correlation, what happens when BTC loses dominance in terms of others rallying. So it could just boost alt season. I also have a note on if this does break, if dominance does break here, where I expect to start profit taking a lot of the alts in terms of the cycle. All right, going over back. Okay, I said before alts, I got to cover one more thing. So in terms of the stock market, we did announce some shorts, right? We did announce some shorts over the weekend saying like this is going to be a good opportunity to get back. I'm just going to move all drawing tools. Those indicators, all drawing tools. So we did see this. This was the sell-off. This is what we shorted for through December. This was Christmas Eve. We did see this rally. I'm seeing a bit of we saw a bear flag sign up. And in terms of moving averages, right? In terms of moving averages, we could see the stock market really look at this selling volume. Really high selling volume. It's currently holding. It's currently holding at one of our moving averages, but the faster ones are to the downside. RSI. For you guys that are just trading stock market with us as well, right? So, it's not really showing me anything bullish just yet. In the larger scope of things, I'm just gonna go like a 2-day chart, and I want to see a double bottom, right? And if I'm just going to add a 500-day MA. And anytime we've touched, and this is a 2-day chart, so it's going to be actually the 1,000-day moving average if it was a daily chart. I just want to consolidate price action more on and we're going to make this one, so 500, so times 2, it's 1,000. Boom, it's already really bright. So that being said, historically, we've never had a single bounce off here, right? So I'm expecting a pullback to these lows, expecting a double bottom. So I'm pretty highly leveraged to the short side. I wouldn't recommend you do the same thing, right? Do not risk more than you can afford to do so. But I did this here, and like my portfolio tripled in a few days. So intraday price action is giving me a couple of bear flags on the S&P. Where's our bear flag? Here it is. I'm just gonna post the targets. So this is our flag, right? This is the pole. This is the flag. I did see a breakdown. We did see a pullback over here, almost like a 61.8 retracement, right? And that's all it is. You can see it. She was like a 61.8 retracement. And now we're seeing a bit of a broadening wedge, descending broadening wedge. I did mention that if this wedge breaks out to the upside, or if it starts acting more and more like a wedge, I'm going to exit these shorts. But then, you know, post market, we're seeing a sell-off. S&P futures are still trading, and we're seeing them sell off, right? So it's almost breaking previous support. QQQ is below previous support. Just going over some indices. Oh, actually, it kind of moved back up, but here we see another bear flag, right? This is a flagpole. Well, it's not even on my chart. This is our flagpole, and that's the flag. Yeah, I'm bearish on the stock market. All right, back to alts. Yeah, smash that like button for Lemar, guys. All right, YouTube's chat's being a lot more engaged than Facebook tonight, which is awesome. ICX was one of our longs. I think I put this one up on my trading view account. And it hit every single target. Yeah. Thanks for mentioning this, Seraphic. Just kind of want to highlight this. So I saw this setup, right? And I signaled it up to 947 sats. And if this thing can play, boom, right? I mean, it went up, flagged again, didn't shake us out. Stopped out here. It's doing a little bit of a wedge. So I'm going to go ahead and chart it. It's actually right at that pullback level, right? So I mentioned that I did an alteration our strategy yesterday and started picking up this pullback on a certain MA traffic. You got access to my notes on a certain time frame, right? And yeah, I see ICX. I'm looking for a continuation because the bigger cycle, it's above our key MA once again, right? So this is acting as support. This could be a big flag, right? This could be a wedge. So it's not, you know, it's got a lot of ups and downs, and we did see an attempt to rally, and then BTC dominance kind of kicks it in between the legs, and we saw this happen on several alts. That's why I had to alter our strategy and say, guys, we're gonna pick up these pullbacks. Instead of trying to trade the breakouts or trying to continue these other swings, we're going to enter the pullback for a swing continuation, and that's just proven to be good on these last three. So, all right, ICX, IOC. One thing I'm staying away of is tokens that are not trading on good volume, right? Especially with our auto trader bot, especially with, yeah, because we want liquidity. And on this chart, there's 0.7, there's a seventh of a BTC, which I'm not a big fan of, right? Like if we were to buy in, we would send volume going. We'd double or triple the volume and a heartbeat. So I'm not trying to do that. But what is the chart doing on the daily, right? It did a swing high and it's not divergent. It looks good. The 4 hour, is it at our pullback level? It's not, right? So I'm going to expect a bit of a rising wedge here, but it broke past it. In terms of support resistance, and this is very thinly traded, right? So it's hard to chart one of these because volume is not there to support it. Like the books are clear. I mean, I wouldn't, unless you're a really big fan of the fundamentals on IOC. Personally, like I'm not holding any. I think there's more reliable charts. Georgia Doc is on fire. It is. It tried to shake us out, and I posted in my notes that it's actually good to come back in there. And I didn't re-signal it, but I put it up in my notes saying, hey guys, Doc's at our pullback. I'm gonna post this. And as somebody brought it up, just like, hey, we're at a target. Are you profit taking? I said, no, I'm not. I actually hit another special MA. I'm going to bring it onto the chart for you guys and gals. and gals. I didn't forget about you. All right, so we can kind of move that. It's gonna be our white line for tonight. So Doc hit this key level for a pullback, and when it did this and it bounced off, it said, hey, this thing's clear for an entry. This is one of the reasons I altered our strategy yesterday. And yeah, and this is one of the reasons Doc's rallying. So Sir Afric, back, you're asking me about ICX icon, right? It's doing the same thing. It's in this early stage of it rallied, right? And then it kind of actually Doc's first time closing above. Remember when I was talking about this close, Georgia, and I'm like, hey, like if you get this close, you're gonna go flying. And what happened? Bitcoin dominance was at that support, and Bitcoin started selling off. Alt sold off, came back here, shook us out. Yesterday, I'm like, no, this thing's gonna take off, and now we're seeing the big upwards move. If you clear this resistance, expect to hit T4, right? A lot of our trades are gonna do that. Going over GAM for Gary. There's a 0.2 of a Bitcoin, right? It's a low volume chart. Technicals, it looks strong. It's closing above where I wanted to close. These tops are not divergent based on if you just forget about the wicks, right? And these low volume coins can go flying, but in terms of how reliable is this chart, like I wouldn't hold any of these tokens if they're not on good volume in several exchanges. All right, going over Sis and Poly. Liam, are you still holding Poly from our early signal? Just curious. All right, so Sis is doing one of two things. It's still climbing. And it's literally doing a rising wedge, right? But we saw several of these break up to the upside like this, and they shouldn't. So I would be taking some Sis off the table at this point. Not all the way, right? Because it's coming back down and retesting the top of this wedge. Let's see what's happening on a smaller time frame. So if this wedge resistance maintains and stays and turns into support, then we can see Sis really fly. I'm going to go over the Binance chart to compare volume metrics from 0.2 and 0.7. There's 118 BTCs, like thousands of percent more volume. And the Sis BTC chart on Binance actually looks a little different. No, it doesn't. But then, like, you can see what volume's doing here. So it's definitely, compared to Bittrex, it was not a whole lot of BVol. So I would wait and see if we get if this turns into support, and if it does, it's good. If it doesn't, and the actual wedge support below this lower white line breaks, I would exit and then put an alert, right? And I'd set like an alert up here, right where price is now, like 1500, to let me know that this thing's breaking out if I wanted to continue that trade. Poly went flying. I actually exited Poly too soon. I exited Poly too soon. But looking at the daily, what are we seeing here? We're seeing a pullback. I mean, this thing looks golden. It looks golden for a continuation. There's a triangle. All right. Should have bought the triangle. So you guys are under the weather today. Had some food poisoning yesterday. Can't trust these burritos. So I'm expecting continuation here. I am. Actually, like, we got out of Poly here, right? So we could, I mean, it's literally right where we got out of it. So we didn't miss much. In terms of a pullback, 61.8 retrace. Moving back up. Looks like an impulse move. I can see Poly flying from here. So, all right. We got 30 more minutes left in this stream. I know, man. It was the first time eating at this place, which is right down the street, and I just wanted something quick. and go back to what so it really matters. The market. Show me some alts, guys. And I gotta hydrate. It's been a bad 2 days. That's it. You guys don't want any more altcoins? When I asked if you guys want me to stream tonight or stream tomorrow, you guys said tonight, and I'm not getting the requests. What's up with this? All right, so there you go, Zeke Mana. So Zeke looks like it's at a really good point right now, right? Zeke looks interesting. ZRX looks good. I mean, this is just like off the top of my head. Zeke looks like it's, I'm not gonna say technically a bottom, but it looks. I was looking at it yesterday, right? And this is the 4-hour chart, and I almost wanted to say, hey, like this is good for it's good to pop in here. Because it pulled back to this exact level that's our buyback level or buy-in level, right? Once we're at this buy-in level, that's quote-unquote bottom. And I was saying BTC did this too, and just because I have this layout pulled up, I'm just going to do the same thing. Moving averages are really powerful too, especially when you can build strategies with them. And look at this. Where did BTC stop? Right? This is why I have a $4,800 target on Bitcoin right now. All right, so going over Dash, Aggie Mana. I did post a note on Lumens yesterday. My phone's going crazy. I did put out a note in my notes on Lumens saying Lumens is at our buyback level. And it made a big impulse move right off of it. Right? I mean, this is the rebuy zone. And XLM didn't really have a reason to sell off like it did. This whole thing was unnecessary. It was just like a big shakeout. So I expect continuation. I do. 50% retrace. That's pretty bullish. Moving averages are kind of taming, so we might go sideways for a bit and then fire off again. I did miss Dash, so I'm gonna go over Dash for Christopher. Dash on the daily looks very strong, right? We're getting this close above our MA. We're about to get another cross. Volume is good, 918 BVol. Don't see a formation here. Maybe I do see a formation. This might be like an ascending triangle bottom. But no, it's looking strong. It's my personal opinion. Don't just trade based on my personal opinion. But it could go on further. RSI is showing some bear div here, right? So I'm seeing some bearish divergence. But it's doing the same thing in terms of the altcoin cycle, same thing that Doc did, right? We had to close above. It could come back down on the 240. Like if I was gonna get in at this on the pullback, because that's the strategy we geared back into, this would have been the entry, right? And so this is the entry level, so it could come back down and retest these 22.1 sat level. Aggie Mana, what's going on, Champagne? You're late. Aggie look at this. I mean, based on our strategy, how many times did Aggie test the support, our personal key area of interest, right? A few times. RSI is past resistance on the 4-hour. What kind of pullback are we getting? It's technically all season. I just want to see that Bitcoin dominance actually break. I want to see Bitcoin dominance drop below that 50% for alts to rally, right? That's what we really need to see happen. You're going to get a drop to like the 48%, the 46, 47%. It's going to be good. So we had 3 bounces off the 61.8. So if I was to hop in this trade, what do I see? I see a little bit of a possible flag, like an impulse move up, not a very strong impulse move up. And my stop's going to be right here below these wicks, right? We did see this try to shake out a couple of times. And volume's been slowing down on Aggie. Last time I was asked about Aggie, I said this thing's doing a rising wedge and it's going to pull back, and it did. But now it's kind of like the triangle we saw on Poly earlier. This one's on the daily, the other one was on the 4-hour. Alright, I'm a little backed up on comments. Take it easy on me, guys. I was asking for them. Now I'm breaking a sweat trying to keep up with you. ZRX got a good way to go, right? In terms of the cycle we've been trading, I honed in on this back on February 11th, and we traded a lot of good trades up to this level, the purple line. So I mean that's my target on ZRX before I sell it. Awesome. Georgia, I'm glad you're making the most out of opportunities. That's awesome when you guys pay attention and you do well, right? It makes us feel accomplished because that's what you're there for. All right. ONT Nano. Okay, so we had an ONT signal a while back. MFT's moving up. So on one of these charts, MFT should be like 80 something, 84 sats. We got in at 81, right? So it hasn't really done anything. It's between signal and T1, entry in T1. So but I'm still bullish on it. I'll go over that chart shortly. ONT signaled early on, very early on. Hit T4 and haven't really looked back. Remember what I was just saying about ZRX? I said we're going to see a move to this purple line. And same thing with Dash. And we're going to see a couple of closes above. And we just saw this on Doc, right? And we just saw another bit. We're seeing Doc attempting to make this third leg up. This was our first leg up, second leg up, third leg up. But interestingly, on ONT, I see a pennant. It's an aggressive one too. It's a really aggressive one. Look at that. Ascending triangle, didn't even like hold back. And it hit that T1, consolidated above, below. We're seeing some support here. I would definitely hike a stop up and secure some profits, right? And there's another little micro bull flag here. There's a falling wedge. Oh man, this thing's looking like a day trader's dream right here. You can see here and trade ONT day after day. Falling wedge breaking out, setting up in a bull flag below our T1. Whoa. 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 Keyboard's wigging out. All right. Quick save. Good save. Man, I just ruined my chart. So back to this pennant that we had on ONT. Falling wedge, a little bit of a bull flag. If this thing continues to break up, it's going to hit the next target based on this pennant, on this impulse move up. Alright, if this continues to rally, at this point I would like move my stop to below this swing low. This is a dragonfly doji. So this is like a reversal candle. It's pretty strong on the daily. We should see a move up, and then we can see the next targets unfold. Not saying it's gonna hit all of them, but there is a potential to go up there. Chart these things out for yourself, study fibs, make your own conclusions. If you're a VIP, you got fib workshops. Got a lot of resources. Christopher, that's a great compliment. Thank you. That's the thing about markets, right? You learn, there's a way to learn more from the trades that we don't take, or the trades that stop us out, right? They're all learning opportunities. Why did this chart rally? Why does this other chart rally? Where and why did the chart turn? And when we hone in on these things, we develop market cycles, and we develop market cycles, we're profitable. I mean, we're MFT, we're still trading the first move up to here, which is going to be 97. So theoretically, I'm not going to touch my MFT bag until we hit 97. If you go to the 4-hour chart, why did I call it yesterday? Because it was a support, right? Because it was at this support that we caught Nano on, that we caught Doc on, that we caught ICX on, that we PHX just hit yesterday. Everything that I put on my notes, right? Just make sure you like zone in on, you read those notes and try to apply what you're reading. So yep, MFT, I'm still looking for a move up, right? We're still gonna go up to here, 84, 85, and I mean theoretically, if you look at it on a 4-hour time frame, like we got the knife, right? Same thing with XBT. I'm gonna go back to the Bitcoin chart. We didn't just catch the knife on Bitcoin. We caught the knife on September futures, which if we do like break that 4,800 level, if we do go to 4,800 and we get rolling, like we caught a really nice sustainable low. We caught a swing low. When people say you buy support and you sell resistance, right? Support isn't always range, right? Because if somebody was just buying regular support and selling regular resistance, well, you would have bought here and you gotten liquidated, right? So there's other ways of finding support, and that's where tuning in the cycles, and it kind of helps. I really hope Doc doubles tonight, because I know a lot of us have big Doc positions. It's moving. Awesome. That's one of the reasons I didn't want to delay power hour to tomorrow, even though like I'm not feeling good, because market's flying. It feels good. All right, so going over BTS. Let me get some more water. All right, real quickly, what do you guys see? Right? Where's support? What happened here? Right? If we bought this, theoretically, we bought this, where would we be right now? So that's what I was talking about. It's more about, you know, sometimes not taking a trade and seeing what it's doing, where it's going. And where did it go, right? You guys know, I mean, if you've been even following us from February, we've been selling the first touch of this moving average, and even the second one, waiting for the close above to go on. So when I find these cycles and we're trading we're doing it for a reason. 240, I can't put a finger on what this thing is. What's our volume doing? 188 BTC. Looks like a possible flag. Let's say this just happened because Bitcoin dominance is still in a bull flag. So I'm gonna set some alerts here. We're not gonna be able to catch the knife on this one unless it does one of these moves again. So I'm just gonna do that and set some alerts below price action. We'd be up, right? But I mean, we learned from this trade, and what do? We apply it to the next one. VIB. Okay, VIB's a good, I'm not sure when you got in, but we had an early signal on VIB, and it kind of mooned. That's when, like, you profit take, absolutely. Profit take. VIB is not an RVN, right? It's not Ravencoin. It's not like a speculative, early speculative gonna go flying because it's backed by all these you know, smart individuals. Not that I know of. If it is a hidden gem, then I need to learn about VIB. But it's at a 50% retracement. I would wait and see how this unfolds. This is the 240. This is a continuation triangle broke down. I'd expect this to actually no comment on VIB. Hit all targets below the 61.8 on a smaller time frame. Don't like it. Alright, going over Aon, AION. Cameron's in the chat. You guys say what's up to Cam B. Cam put you guys in a couple of awesome margin trades yesterday. Aon breaking out, right? Bull flag on the hourly. What'd it do? Remember that white line I had? I'm not gonna put it back up, but this is that white line. Actually, I'm gonna do that. I'm just gonna do that so you guys know how this works. Like, you're gonna hate me for not telling you what these are, but I can't just show them on stream. Can't do that. All right. Who's ready for this? Oof. You gotta make it white. All right. So these are the dips that we want to pick up, and this is how we're screening right now for these impulse moves. There's a bull flag up here, and because there's this bull flag, what we're gonna do, give you some FIB targets for continuation. These would be my targets. Just FIB extension targets, real simple, easy tool to use. If you know how to use FIBs, you're gonna make money in all markets. 39.55, 43.15. You know what I tend to do over here is I'll scale out. Like, I'll sell a quarter here, I'll sell a quarter here, sell another quarter, put a trailing stop on them. That's what our bot does. That's what our sniper bot's doing. We did have 2 or 3 trades that didn't execute, so we found a little bug that we're still fixing before going live. We should have been live 2 days ago. I'll send out the next email as soon as the bugs are done or patched. So 39.55 for that. These are your FIB targets. George, are you saying yo, or you want me to check yo for you? I'm not even funny, I know. Alright, so yo came back to the expected support level. I mean, you can call this like primary support. You can call this secondary support, right? I'm gonna see what the primary one is. Come on. Like, I hate this wick, right? It just destroys the chart. It butchers it. So this is like primary, this is secondary. Kind of like what I did with Bitcoin. I said you got L1 and L2, and we ended up long in level 2. This looks like a rising wedge. Back to yo-yo. Rising wedge, acting like rising wedge. I would not still be in here. It's acting like one. We could see a pullback. We could see. Can we get on the daily chart? So just gonna see what's happening in the short term, and then we'll go to the longer term chart and see how and why and what in the world's going on. In terms of a pullback, it's still early, right? It's 23.6. Based on the other charts we saw, we could see a 50%. We could see 61.8. So I'm expecting Yo-Yo to come back down to 529, 515, right? Before any continuation, just like Poly. And this thing has been trading above our KMA for a while. I'm going to go ahead and remove all drawing tools. Remove all drawing tools, and there could be a bigger wedge here. It's failing to close above this resistance, right? It just is. It's not really a wedge at this point. It's just a channel. The trend is somewhat accelerating because we have a higher support right here. But the volume, interestingly, it's to the bull side. So back to the intraday. Yeah, I would, I'd expect a pullback. I definitely expect, just based on this wedge. Did I miss anybody's alts? You guys show me once, show me twice. That's it. All right, fam. Well, thank you all for tonight's Power Hour. You guys were amazing. You gave me a lot of alts. You gave me a lot of insight. I'm glad the engagement in the server has been awesome. The stream's been awesome. I'll be on Discord tonight, right? I'm not going anywhere. I'm here for you guys. And yeah, thank you for tuning in. All right, Hydroman, BTT. We'll take one last one. Has it even moved? We've been buying. I have buy orders at 18. Right. I have buy orders at 18. It's just filling. Every time it comes down, it fills a little bit. It fills a little bit. It's actually looking pretty good on the daily. Volume's at 1,500. That's pretty high, man. This thing can go moving anytime, especially with dominance. If dominance breaks, I expect all season. Oh, look at this bear flag. It's nasty. All right. What? Dominance is fighting back. It's going to be a battle. And you go to the daily. So here's the thing. Keep an eye on that BTC.D chart. Keep an eye on the BTC, especially if you're margin trading. Look at that Bitcoin futures on CME. That's where the big banks are leveraging. They're not doing that shit on BitMEX. It's not even... No. That's where the big banks are playing. Thank you all. How about I looked at ADA? We kind of started with ADA, covered that it's up 40% since our first call, and like 38% on the second call. It's not at T4 yet. Should be hitting T4 promptly. I mean, there's no pullback. At this point, if someone's in ADA, based on our early call, based on the... I even wrote a Medium article on ADA. Like February, back here, right? I said these are the buy levels. It's gonna moon. Just based on the neckline, because I've covered ADA so intensively before, and I have an article on ADA, and it's just following the article. So just check our Medium. 33. Are we up 33? We're up 44. But because we got in a lot lower. So it actually like completed the head and shoulders, right? I would be profit taking some. What's RSI doing? Yeah. I would be profit taking. Gotta take some profits home, right? When we're up like 40-50%. Something. Unless you're just a hodler. Thanks, Christopher. Thank you guys. Thank you all for streaming. Catch you on Discord. It's been a great night. Yeah. Happy gaining.